Imagine trying to conduct a symphony orchestra, right? But half your musicians are sitting in entirely different cities.
Oh, and they're all reading completely different sheet music, too.
Exactly. You raise your baton, hoping for Beethoven, and what you actually get is just this chaotic, expensive wall of noise.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the reality for anyone trying to run a multi-site business today.
It really is. It's a massive logistical weight.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter if you're overseeing 20 coffee shops, 50 car dealerships, or, 100 fitness centers. The friction of just getting everyone to play the same tune is staggering.
Right, and it's a machine that most of us interact with every single day as consumers. Like, we just expect the coffee to be hot, the gym to be clean, the inventory to be right there on the shelf.
Oh, yeah.
But we rarely think about the sheer amount of disorganized manual effort happening in the back office to actually keep those operations functioning.
Yeah, managing one single store is like playing a solo instrument. It takes skill, sure, but you control the tempo. You hear every note you play.
And if a string breaks, you fix it right then and there.
Exactly. But when you scale that up to multiple locations, you suddenly lose that immediate sensory feedback. You can't see the broken string.
You're just blind to it.
Right. So our mission for this deep dive is to figure out how you actually regain that visibility. For everyone listening, we love untangling complex systems here. So we are looking closely at an operations platform called Digitso today.
Yeah, which acts essentially as that conductor's baton for multi-site businesses.
Exactly. But, what is really fascinating about Digitso isn't just the fact that it's another piece of software.
No, not at all. When you dig into how it is built, it actually represents a deeply philosophical approach to organizational data and visibility and, most importantly, execution.
Yeah, it forces us to ask a really critical question, which is, why are we collecting all this data in the first place?
Right. And to understand that, we have to look at the fundamental frustration that kind of birthed this platform. Digitso wasn't created in a vacuum by, Silicon Valley developers just guessing at what businesses need.
Right. It wasn't just a whiteboard idea.
Exactly. It was born out of a founder's sheer frustration after 15 years in the operational trenches.
15 years?
Yeah, you have teams out there right now who are expected to run these highly complex operations, but they're doing it with completely disconnected tools.
Oh, agonizingly slow reporting. Yeah.
And just far too much noise. The creators of this platform have a very vocal rejection of software that just provides what they call dashboards that look good in a meeting.
Oh, we all know those dashboards.
Right. They're beautiful, they have great pie charts, and they are completely useless to a site manager who is currently dealing with a staffing crisis on a Tuesday afternoon.
Because a beautiful chart only tells you what happened last month. It doesn't help you move work forward today.
Exactly. So they break this entire problem down into 3 core layers of business: data, insight, and execution.
Okay, those 3 layers, they're basically the entire backbone of why modern management is often so frustrating, right?
Yeah, think of it this way. Data is simply what happened. We sold 100 units.
Okay. Insight is why it happened. We sold 100 units because we ran a promotion.
Makes sense.
But execution is what you are actually doing about it right now. And most businesses are just drowning in data.
Yeah, maybe they have a little bit of insight if they have a really good analyst.
Right. But their execution layer is entirely disconnected from the other 2.
Okay, let's unpack this, because if you are listening right now and you work in any sort of corporate or multi-site environment, your immediate red flag is probably going up.
Oh, for sure. Tool fatigue is real.
It's so real. If a business is already drowning in disconnected apps, Slack channels, email threads, and just, overwhelmed staff, isn't introducing a massive new all-in-one platform just adding more noise?
It sounds like it would, yeah.
Isn't it just a steep learning curve and another giant login screen that a stressed-out regional manager is going to totally ignore?
It is a completely valid challenge, and honestly, it is the exact trap most enterprise software falls into. It just becomes shelfware.
Right, people just stop using it. But Digitso counters that by strictly organizing around 3 core values: clarity, execution, and partnership. The goal isn't to give that stressed-out manager more data to sift through.
Thank goodness.
Right. The goal is to provide 24/7 visibility without the friction.
Okay, but what does without the friction actually mean in practice? Because, literally every software company promises a frictionless experience.
Fair point. In this context, it means no more chasing spreadsheets at the end of the month. It means no more branch managers texting blurry screenshots of physical schedules to a WhatsApp group chat.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is so common.
It really is. The platform absorbs the data organically through just the natural daily use of the system.
So like sales logs being entered.
Exactly. Sales logs, employees clocking in for their shifts, compliance tasks being checked off on a tablet. It ingests all of that and surfaces only what is strictly actionable.
Okay, I see.
It is about replacing 5 clumsy manual human habits with one invisible, streamlined system.
Okay, so if the ultimate goal is frictionless execution, how does a company actually implement this thing without operations just grinding to an absolute halt?
Yeah, implementation is usually the scary part.
Seriously. Because if I have 50 locations, migrating software across all of them sounds like an absolute nightmare. I would expect that to take, I don't know, 6 months and a dedicated team of IT consultants.
Well, that brings us to the actual architecture of how it is set up. The design intent here is that setup can be completed in under 1 day.
Wait, what? Under 1 day for a 50-site operation?
Yeah, under a day.
I'm sorry, I have to push back on that. That sounds like absolute marketing magic. How is that physically possible?
It sounds impossible if you were thinking about legacy systems, right? Like where you have to install local instances on local servers at every single branch.
Right, right.
But because this is 100% cloud hosted, there is zero ongoing IT support needed locally. The heavy lifting is just removed.
Okay, I'm listening.
They achieve this through a very specific 3-step onboarding process. So step 1 is just setting up the company structure. You import your locations, define the organizational roles, and invite the team.
That is just data entry, really. It takes minutes, not days.
Exactly.
Okay, I will give you step 1. That is basically just uploading a CSV file of your staff.
Yeah, that's the easy part. But step 2 is where the magic happens, and this is what actually allows for that speed. Step 2 is configuring your rules.
The rules.
Yeah, you build out your pay structures, your commission rates, your key performance indicator targets, and your permissions. And the critical mechanism here is that you only do this once at the absolute top level.
Oh, it is like establishing the laws of gravity for your business universe.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, like once you set the gravity at the center, it universally applies to every single planet, or in this case, every single site in your system automatically.
That is a perfect analogy.
You don't have to go to each planet and program how gravity works.
Exactly. And think about what setting those central laws of gravity eliminates out in the real world. It completely removes the human error of enforcing policies manually across different geographical locations.
Oh man, that is huge.
Right. Let's say the commission structure for selling a specific retail product changes on a Monday. In a normal business, you have to send an email to 30 different branch managers and just pray that they read it, understand it, and update their local Excel trackers correctly.
Which they won't. Or at least 3 of them won't.
Exactly. With this architecture, you change the rule centrally, and it is instantly live everywhere.
Which leads right into step 3,
Wow.
which is simply tracking in real time. Because the rules are set, managers and reps just see live dashboards from day 1 with absolutely no local configuration needed after the go-live moment.
Yeah. And once those rules are set in step 2, that is what allows the system to start running these incredible automated modules behind the scenes.
Okay, let's actually dive into those modules, because there are a few that really stand out in how they change daily workflows.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
You've got performance tracking, payments, and value tracking. But the one that I found genuinely fascinating is the validation feature.
Oh, the validation module is brilliant because it tackles one of the most universally despised corporate tasks, which is reconciliation.
Yes. If you have ever been the person stuck at a desk at 7 p.m. on a Friday doing reconciliation at the end of a month, you know exactly how painful that process is.
It's the worst.
You are staring at 2 screens, trying to find the one single transaction that doesn't match the bank file.
Right. So what this module does is automatically check internal records generated by your staff against external files, like a bank statement or a supplier invoice.
Okay.
But it is not just doing a dumb one-to-one match. It is designed to find missing, unusual, or mismatched items. It is actively discrepancy hunting.
But wait, how exactly is it doing that without just creating a massive pile of error notifications?
Yeah.
I mean, if someone typed John Doe in the system, but the bank file says J Doe, does the system just break and flag it as an error?
No, and that is where the execution layer really shines. It uses fuzzy logic and pattern recognition to understand that John Doe and J Doe for the same amount on the same date are highly likely to be the same transaction.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it resolves the obvious matches instantly and then flags only the genuine anomalies for a human to review. It turns hours of manual line-by-line checking into basically a 5-minute approval process.
That is a massive return on time. And then there's the rota and hours module.
Right.
Obviously, every operations tool has a scheduling feature that publishes shifts and calculates hours. But the detail here is that it explicitly supports Google Maps sign-in and sign-out checks.
Yes, which is a highly practical mechanism for a very specific operational headache.
Tell me about it.
If you run a business with field teams or staff who go directly to client sites like event staff or home healthcare workers, knowing they are physically where they're supposed to be when they clock in is a massive compliance and payroll issue.
Because historically, a remote worker could just text their manager and say, yep, I'm here at the site, while they are, still sitting in their living room in their pajamas.
Exactly. Tying the clock-in mechanism directly to a GPS location, Ping solves that trust gap instantly. It validates the execution layer automatically.
But hold on, if we zoom out for a second, if we have a system that is tracking daily sales logs, running fuzzy logic, internal file validations, monitoring performance targets, and pinging actual GPS locations of staff clocking in,
It's a lot.
that is a terrifying ocean of information. Earlier, we talked about eliminating noise. How does a single employee avoid drowning in all this data?
So this is where we get into the psychology of what they call an information diet.
An information diet. I like that.
Yeah.
The system prevents drowning by utilizing a strict role-based access model, which uses a 4-tier permission structure designed entirely around operational boundaries.
So it's like driving a car, right? When you behind the wheel, you need the speedometer and the gas gauge right in front of you.
Right. You need to know if you are speeding or if you are out of fuel. You absolutely do not need a live readout of the engine's internal temperature, and you certainly don't need a dial showing you the tire pressure of a completely different car driving 3 towns over.
Precisely. And in a lot of corporate environments, people are constantly CC'd on emails or given access to reporting dashboards that act exactly like that useless tire pressure gauge.
It's just noise.
It is noise. Digitso restricts access not just for security, which is the traditional IT reason, but it restricts it for focus. You only see the metrics you can actively control.
So how does Digitso actually draw those boundaries? Like, what are the 4 tiers?
Well, Tier 1 is frontline staff. Let's use a barista as an example.
Okay, perfect.
If you are the barista, you get a personal dashboard. You see your daily activity log, your own schedule, and your personal KPIs. You know exactly what your target is for upselling pastries today, and you see a simple progress bar of how close you are to hitting it.
Okay.
That is it. You don't see the regional profit margins. You don't see the store's electricity bill.
Clean, simple, it keeps your head in the game. So what happens when that barista gets promoted?
Then they move to Tier 02, which is team leads. They still see everything a frontline staff member sees, but they get the added visibility of team performance and day-to-day oversight strictly for the people directly reporting to them.
So if one of their team members is struggling with their pastry upsells, the team lead sees that red flag immediately and can step in to coach them before the shift even ends.
Exactly. The data empowers the immediate execution of a solution.
Love that.
Then Tier 03 is managers. This tier steps back from the minute-by-minute coaching and looks at broader operational oversight. They are managing the larger site targets, balancing the shift rotations, handling staff reviews, and basically coordinating the whole location.
Which leaves Tier 04. I'm assuming these are the folks who set the laws of gravity.
Yes, Tier 04 are the admins. They sit at the very top. They have full company control. They set the rules, define the structures, manage those permissions, and maintain the overall operational governance.
This concept of 100% role-based accountability is so smart. By putting everyone on that strict information diet, the system essentially forces focus. You cannot get distracted by a metric you cannot change.
And setting up that highly structured, incredibly clean data ecosystem is actually the prerequisite for the most advanced part of the platform.
Oh.
Up until now, we've only discussed how human workers interact with the system to track and execute their tasks. But we have to talk about how the system itself analyzes all that clean data to spot the microscopic patterns that humans naturally miss.
Okay, here is where it gets really interesting. Because if you have ever spent a Friday afternoon staring at an Excel spreadsheet trying to figure out why Tuesday's numbers suddenly dropped.
Oh, the manual autopsy.
Yes. You know exactly how painful that is.
Yeah.
Well, we are talking at the Digitso intelligence engine here.
Hmm?
This isn't a passive dashboard. It actively explains performance and tells you where to act.
Yeah, it is powered by a combination of leading AI models, including OpenAI, Anthropic Claude, and Azure OpenAI.
Wait, let me pause you there. Whenever people hear OpenAI or AI models integrated into business software, the immediate fear is hallucination.
Of course.
If I am using an AI to run my business, what happens if it just invents data? Or what if it leaks my company's proprietary financial data out into the public internet to train a public model?
It is a vital question, and it is why the architecture here is so important. This intelligence engine operates in a closed-loop environment.
Okay.
It does not rely on stock data, and it is not searching the open internet for answers. It is strictly confined to looking at the proprietary data your business is generating inside the Digitso platform.
So it's contained.
Highly contained. It is taking the incredible pattern recognition capabilities of those large language models and pointing them exclusively at your own clean, structured, tier-controlled database.
So it is mapping your specific universe safely. And because of that, it can run features that sound like a wish list for a frantic manager. Stuff like scenario forecasting, profit leak detection, zero performance alerts. But to really understand how this works, we need to look at a specific scenario. There is an example of an AI insight generated by this system that completely blew my mind.
Oh, the revenue drop one. Let's walk through it.
Yeah, imagine you are a regional manager. You log in, and instead of just seeing a red arrow pointing down next to your revenue number, the system has generated a plain English alert that says, and I'm paraphrasing here, revenue down 18% today due to reduced staffing levels, increased discounting, and low conversion from 2 team members.
What is so fascinating about that specific output is the depth of the root cause analysis at play there.
It is incredible. It connects all these entirely disparate threads. I mean, any cheap software can tell you revenue is down 18%.
Right.
But this AI looked at the rota, saw a staffing gap. Then it looked at the point of sale data and noticed a specific behavioral pattern of high discounting. Then it cross-referenced that with individual performance metrics and pinpointed 2 specific team members who are failing to convert sales. It took all of those variables and wove them together to explain a single bad Tuesday.
Think about the mechanics of how that used to be done.
It would take forever.
Identifying a conversion bottleneck or isolating the exact impact of a new starter historically required pulling a data analyst into a room, exporting a dozen different CSV files from 3 different software suites, and doing days of manual correlation.
Yeah.
By the time you figured out why Tuesday was bad, it was already next Friday. You were doing an autopsy on a corpse.
Exactly. This completely changes the game. You are getting a diagnosis while the patient is still on the operating table. Because this is an automated early warning signal, a manager can literally walk out onto the floor, pull those 2 specific team members aside, and coach them on their discounting habits before the day is even over.
You save the revenue before it is permanently lost. And because it is constantly scanning, it detects subtle factors that humans almost never catch. It can highlight performance differences between specific teams working different shifts. It notices microscopic drops in add-ons or upsells, and it can even track how individual KPIs shift in the days after a manager logs a coaching session.
That's wild.
It is constantly hunting for the hidden variables driving your results.
Okay, so we have seen the brain of this platform. We understand how the cloud architecture allows it to scale. We understand the psychology of the information diet. And we've seen how the AI diagnoses the problems.
Right.
But what does its physical footprint look like out in the real world? Like, who's actually using this architecture to run their operations?
Well, because the underlying mechanics are so adaptable, the platform is built for some very distinct vertical markets. They see heavy use in auto trade, retail, hospitality, telecoms, finance and broking, fitness and leisure, and field sales and logistics.
I love the way they approach these different industries because they use very practical, punchy taglines. Like for hospitality, the ethos is run the floor, not the spreadsheets.
Oh, that's good.
Which perfectly encapsulates everything we've been talking about.
Precisely. In a restaurant or a hotel, a manager's eyes need to be on the guests, the service quality, and the staff energy. Every minute they spend locked in a back office wrestling with a laptop is a minute the actual business is suffering.
And then you pivot entirely to something like auto trade.
Yeah.
You have car dealerships using this to track branch versus branch leaderboards, calculating complex unit commissions, and automating their finance reconciliation.
Yeah.
It is just wild to me that the exact same underlying software architecture can securely calculate finance commissions for a car broker in one instance, and then, just by changing the laws of gravity during setup, can track GPS route visibility for a field logistics rep out in a delivery van.
But that connects perfectly back to their core promise of one configuration, every site, every role. Whether you are slinging retail telecom packages, brokering high-end car loans, or just trying to grow memberships and retain staff at a local fitness center, the fundamental operational challenge is identical.
It all comes back to visibility, accountability, and execution across multiple sites. I mean, the sheet music might look totally different depending on if you are selling sports cars or pouring pints of beer, but as the conductor, you are still just trying to keep the orchestra in time.
Exactly. The specific details of the daily activity will always change based on the industry. But the mechanical need to log that activity without friction, track it against centralized targets, validate the financials automatically, and surface actionable insights to the precise tier of management that can fix the problem. That is a universal need across all service environments.
So what does this all actually mean for you, the person listening right now? If we pull back from all the tech features and look at the whole picture, the biggest takeaway from this deep dive is understanding the massive fundamental leap from descriptive software to executable software.
That's the real shift.
Yeah. Descriptive software is what most of us use. It creates noise, it tells you that you missed your target, and basically leaves you alone to figure out the mess.
Good luck with that.
Right. Executable software gives teams their time and their clarity back. It forces focus through role-based access, and it uses incredibly smart intelligence to point you exactly where the friction is happening in real time.
It is about actively removing the operational drag that slows human beings down. But, looking closely at a system like this also raises a really provocative thought about the future of management itself.
Oh, I like where this is going. What is the thought?
Think deeply about that intelligence engine we just discussed. If an AI operating in a closed-loop environment can accurately diagnose exactly why a business had an 18% revenue drop on a random Tuesday,
Yeah.
and it can pinpoint that failure down to a specific employee and a specific behavioral choice, like relying too heavily on a discount code.
Right.
At what point does operations software transition from being a tool for the manager to effectively acting as the operations manager itself?
Wow. I mean, if the system is doing all the heavy lifting, if it is analyzing the data, diagnosing the root cause, and directing the exact solution, the human manager just becomes the messenger who delivers the feedback.
Basically, yeah.
That is a heavy, fascinating shift to ponder as these platforms get smarter and more integrated.
It certainly changes what we will define as a manager's core skill in the next decade. Because if the AI handles the logistics, the human manager will only be valued for their empathy and their ability to actually coach the employee.
It absolutely does. The value shifts entirely from analysis to human connection. Well, we have covered a massive amount of ground today, from the operator's frustration and the psychology of information diets, all the way to AI diagnosing a bad Tuesday.
It's been a journey.
It has. Thank you to everyone listening for joining us on this deep dive. Keep looking for that signal in the noise, and may all the musicians in your operational orchestra finally start playing the same tune.